Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's show, where we'll be discussing selling t-shirts online with organic traffic. I'm joined, as I am every week, every Thursday, with none other than Mr. Thomas Gentleman, our resident super seller. How are you, Thomas?
I'm good, Aidan. Hello, everybody out there. Yes, this week's topic is how you can generate sales organically. There's always a lot of talk about paid advertising, and yes, paid advertising is great, but there's a big world out there away from paid advertising. You see pages and groups and blogs and all sorts of places that have got huge audiences that they built up over a little bit of time. And basically that's the idea. You create something and then you monetize it, and then nothing is absolutely free because it will take your time, and that does have a cost to it, but you don't have to run paid advertising. That's the thing. And the other thing here is that when you've built it, then it's there and it's generating that almost passively, not really passively. You still have to do a little bit of work, but it continues to grow and to build over time, and it can be a real long-term asset.
Yeah. And I suppose where would you say the first place to start in this process of sort of getting some organic traffic moving?
Okay, so the first thing that you want to do, you're going to want to create a Facebook page, and possibly as well a Instagram account linked to that page, which is, they're both free. But that's not, you can't just create a Facebook page. You're going to need to start with thinking about a niche. So what's a niche? A niche is an interest, something that people are going to be interested in. The higher the passion, the better. I would say the way things are going, you want to stay away from the highest passion niche, which is going to be politics. I'd say that's pretty much a dead niche now. You might be lucky and get away with it for a little while, but we see the movement. So even though it's a very high passion niche, it's probably best to stay away from that at the moment. But you want to pick something where people are really passionate about. And okay, how do you tell if people are passionate about it? If you go onto social media, you search for a topic. So let's take something along the lines of, let's take something that isn't a niche. You'll find lots of people cooking on social media, but cooking itself isn't a niche. If you're going to create something, you want to create it around something that's a real niche within that. So what's the niche within cooking? Cooking is a general niche. Okay, you could maybe argue it's a niche. Being a chef, that's a niche.
Yeah. So
chefs, restaurateurs, that kind of thing, that's a niche. That's a job. That's something people are passionate about. They're professional cooks, professional chefs. They work in the kitchen. That's their thing. So you could create a Facebook page, and then you'd share lots of memes on that page about being a chef, what chefs do, chef life, that kind of stuff. Or you can find all of this stuff around. It's a meme. You can share it. If you happen to share something that somebody else has made, then they say they have a problem with it, and you can just take it down. But in general, you're memeing. You can start to create your own memes. You can Google chef memes. You can make your own images. It takes minutes. You want to post 1 to 3 times a day. That's the best way to do it. Now, when you're first starting out, it's going to be difficult to get people to your page. Okay, so you can open the page. You can join a group, another group as a page, but don't spam into that group.
Yeah.
Put genuine comments into the group. Be social on social media. Open an Instagram account that's linked to, a Twitter account that's linked to your page. Get out there, answer some questions. Yes, all right, you're not a chef yourself, you don't know, but if somebody asks a question, Google that question, see if somebody else has answered it. Don't just cut and paste the reply, change it around a little bit. Be social, answer the questions, engage in the community, get onto Reddit, make an account with the page name as your account name. But don't push the page, just talk, just be normal. Build it up like that, or get properly organically. If you're wanting to get into the niche and you don't have English as your first language, and you're like, oh, this is going to be difficult, well, you're just going to have to go through the extra step of translating things. Keep your answers super simple. Make sure that it makes sense. There's lots of ways of checking that it makes sense. See what other people are writing, and just start more slowly. But still, that's the way to build it up. And you just want to keep that organic content rolling into your page on Instagram, using the right hashtags. Have a look around. You want to just keep that rolling, keep it building up until you've got a good engaged following. It's all about engagement here. I don't care if you've got 1 million people following you on Instagram. If you put something up and only 3 people like it, then you might as well only have 3 people following it.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the thing. There's sort of 2 pots of adding value to a page, right? There's entertaining someone with maybe your chef memes, but then there's also the learning value that you can add by doing top chef tips or stuff I wish I knew before I started being a chef or stuff like that. It really does add value, and people can definitely share it amongst their other chef colleagues and friends, and that's how you get that initial growth. I remember there was something you've said previously, Thomas, which I quite liked in terms of when you're doing some niche research of where to go. You said if someone's that passionate about something, they would get a tattoo on themselves of it. That's a great place to start, right? And I think that's a good little pointer, definitely.
Yeah, so the highest passion niches are the best. There's lots of these around. People are super passionate about hunting, fishing. Within cooking, yes, chefs are going to be the most passionate. There might be some people that are super passionate about avocados. You might find people that are super keen on a certain type of diet. So whatever that diet
is the roaring trend at the moment.
There you are. Aidan likes a diet, so
I need a diet, but yeah,
Atkins diet in general, that kind of thing. People are kind of passionate about it, but are they going to buy a T-shirt about it? It's difficult to know. People that work out, okay, is the gym a niche? It's kind of. Bodybuilding's a niche.
Yeah.
People that are going to the gym for that reason. CrossFit may be a niche. Yoga is a niche. Yoga's a difficult one, though. I've tried yoga before. It's a weird one because you don't have to buy anything to do yoga. All you need is a floor and your own body weight. So it's not necessarily a niche where they're already used to spending money within that niche, but it's something that you can look at trying to build around. I wouldn't go for it myself, but if you were super into yoga and you could add a lot of value to that group, then that's also another thing. If you're in the niche, then you can go for it a little bit stronger, even if it's not so definite that there are buyers in there. But I mean, fishing, I don't fish myself, but fishing's a good niche. Fishing equipment is expensive. You have to have a license. You have to rent time at the lake, the whatever, you spend the money. I don't know.
Fishing license as well in the UK.
The fishing license. So this is my level of knowledge about fishing, although I've sold a lot into the fishing niche because they're super passionate. I don't have to be, and there's a lot of information out there when somebody says, "Oh, what's the best lure to attract a yellow-tailed snowjack?" Or I don't know what these things are called.
Yeah, that
sounds like a fish. It's not. It's not a fish. It's a made-up fish. Trademark. But still, that's the way to do it. So you build up, I would say, Instagram account. That's probably the easiest to build up the followers first, but do have it linked to a Facebook page. You can link a shop to your Instagram account. So you want to turn your Instagram account into a business page. You want to get your designs ready. So you should be having some designs. Don't start pushing them at the beginning, but you can link to your shop, to your Moteefe white label store from your Instagram account. There's lots of ways that you can do that. There's these services where you can have a link on Instagram and it brings up like 5 options. Go to our shop, follow us on Facebook, join our Facebook group, that kind of thing. You want to give them those kind of options. Building up a Facebook page from scratch is a little bit more difficult. As I said, you can try and join other groups as your page. Don't spam. It's no good. It won't help you. Just engage in the community, and then go on, Aidan.
So I was just going to say, I was going to just throw out a pearl or a tool. So when I've been growing Instagram pages, something that's really helped me is obviously it's a lot. You need to add keywords to Instagram posts. They have changed it recently. You're not meant to put loads of tags at the bottom, but if you put 5, it's fine. But there's a website called I think it's Right Tag. So it's RITETAG. If you put what your page is about, it will show you the most relevant and best tags to have on your post to pop up to those people who are searching for it, right? Right Tag. It's not right, it's RITE tags.com. And it's super helpful. So check that out. Sorry, Thomas, go ahead.
That's okay. Yes, do that. Check that out. There's lots of ways of finding which are the right hashtags to be using. Yes, you don't want to overdo it. You want to keep them targeted to to the community that you're going after. And then, okay, you should have your Facebook page. You've got your catalog, or you can build a little catalog which makes a shop on Facebook, so you can have that attached to the page, but you don't have to push that. It can just sit there. And then you add a group. So the page can be an owner of a group, and then everybody that likes your page, you can then invite to the group. If you're already running paid advertising, every person that engages, they call it an engagement on one of your ads, you can go down and invite about 100 people a day, maybe a few more, maybe up to 300 people a day. You go down into the comments, and then there's a invite to page, and then you just click that. If you don't know how to do it, just Google how to invite somebody to a Facebook page, and it will show you. And so you're already paying for that engagement. Some of the people that you invite will come and like your page. They're likely to be the more passionate people in the niche anyway. And then all of those people you invite into the group, and the group, you want to make it a little bit special. So you've got the page where you're posting memes. In the group, you post your best memes first. So you post your memes in the group first, the best ones, and you'll get a feeling of how that's going. You want to open a public Facebook group. You don't want it closed off. Yes, you're going to have to put some rules around it, but there's 3 types of Facebook group. You can have like an ultra private one, or a semi-private one, or like a public group. So a public group is what you want. You want to give it a name that makes it sound like it's something that fishermen, like a elite fisherman of whatever. You can have multiple different ones. So you could have like a British one, or a German one, or a French one, or an American one, or even like a Texas fisherman rule page. Like, that's just going to mean that the interactions within that group between the members are going to be more original and better, because they're going to be able to communicate with each other. If you just have fishing group, then you're going to have, carp fishermen. Maybe you have it by niche. You have you do different groups for different types of fishing. Yeah. Carp, bass, sea bass, carp, all of the other fish, catfish, swordfish for the deep sea fishermen,
barracudas,
tuna, salmon, fly fishing. As you see, there's all these sub niches within there. So you can have a different page for each one of these, and then when people are searching, then you can build these groups. And then when you come to post a shirt in the group, which you do very carefully at first, do not do this every day. Let it build up. When you post it, you want to put something like, "Hey guys, I just designed this. If anyone wants to buy it, it's 20% off for group members. See what happens." Some people always say and start complaining. But in the end, you do have to monetize it. See what you get in feedback, or just the other thing you can do is don't even post a link to it. Just post a picture of the shirt and say, "Hey guys, I just designed this. I want some feedback," and see what they say. They'll say, "Oh, I love it. Where can I get it?" If they all say, "Where can I get it?" then go, "Oh yeah, great," and then put the link. Yeah. Don't be pushy. Don't be like, "Buy it here, get it now."
A clever format some organic page owners have done is they've not put a link to it. They just tested the water, and what they've done is they've done like a meme template, like just a white background, nothing special, and they put at the top, "The perfect mug doesn't exist," and then they put a mug that's relevant to that niche. And then obviously everyone's going to comment and say, "Oh, that is the perfect mug because it's relevant to my interest," right? So that's been a very common formula, which has been very successful.
Yeah. You can get really in depth with these groups. So you can do groups about being like new mothers, new parents, that kind of thing. There's lots of these groups that can be set up, and you're the one that runs it. Anyway, so that's the way to go, slowly at first. So you build it up. If you've got 10 members in there in the group, you can't be posting something to buy every day. Even if you've got 10,000, you don't want to do it every day. This is something that you want to build up over time, and there's a shop attached to your Facebook page anyway, so you can like pin a link to the top of the group just saying, "Hey guys, thanks for you can check out our store here," like on like the 3rd or 4th line. But it doesn't have to be too prominent. Don't be pushy. Imagine if you're in a group where you came in to talk about something that you're interested in, and every 5 minutes as you're trying to sit there talking about it, someone comes around like, "Do you want to have one of these, or do you want to have one of those?" It's like after living in Asia for a few years, that's the kind of thing at night people would come around and try and sell you things while you're trying to talk to your friends at the bar, and it's just annoying. I don't know any of my friends that bought one of those Rolex watches, so or bought a suit in the middle of in the middle of a bar setting. So you don't want to be pushy, but you want to give people that they really want, and that's then your job to get put in front of them products that they can't help but buy and they really love. These things will build up. It's a public group. You let more people in, and then you slowly monetize, and that's the way to do it. Whether you're going to be doing it through, you can post on your page, you can post on Instagram, but again, slowly. You don't want to be pushy at all. If you're a little bit more experienced with marketing, or if you're a writer, or if you're super passionate about the thing that you're interested in, or the group topic, then you can consider creating a blog. Now, the blog doesn't have to be too long form. It can just be some thoughts of the day. Hey, I'm getting up 5 a.m. I'm going fishing. Hope I catch something today. What are you fishing? Slowly, you can build this up. Yes, you could link it to newsletters. You can start to engage in email marketing. But the beginning is to just see if you can build up a group, get a community going, get people enthusiastic. And the beauty of a group is people will invite their friends if it's good content. So look around the internet, look for great articles about fishing, look for great articles about being a new mum. Have a feed going so that you've got like the most important news on that subject that week. So there's real value. That's what you want in there. You want to give value. Oh, the such and such lake is frozen over. I hope the little fishes are going to be happy this winter. How to handle your carp when taking a photo. This kind of stuff that's relevant to them. Carp fishing season's coming in a few weeks, guys. Like, who's prepared? What rods are you getting for this year? What are the best 2021 rods?
And that's exactly it. And not only are you giving them better content that's more relevant, and it's also more shareable within the community. If everyone's talking about that certain thing that's happened within that niche, you're going to get it shared a lot more. And that means you're going to get more eyeballs and then potentially more people joining the group because of it. So it's definitely something to capitalize on.
Yeah, if somebody's just caught the biggest one ever, then you want to post about that. It's like, hey guys, the biggest one ever was caught, or all of that kind of thing. So you want to add value, and then you want to slowly, every so often when it's relevant, put a shirt or put a design, a mug, drip those in over time. But do not try and post 3 shirts a day, 4 shirts a day. 2 shirts a week is probably too many at the beginning. You just want to, probably the maximum I would ever post in there is maybe 3 a week, maybe, but that would have to be mixed in with a lot of other content. So if it's a super busy page, super busy group, you can see how many group posts there are a day. Some groups are getting 100 posts a day. If you're getting 100 posts a day, then maybe you can get like 3, maybe 4 in there a week if it's in context. But even then, you don't want to be overdoing it.
Right. No. So if you were to do it in a sort of percentage, would it be sort of 70-30? So 70% content, 30% the stuff?
I would say 90% at least content. If you've got a lot of designs that you want to test, you can see when your group's most active. You can get 5 or say 4 designs done, put them all into one post, and say, hey, which one of these is the best? And then you can put a link maybe in the comments afterwards to the store rather than directly to the products. If you've got a lot of designs that you want to push out, but you really want to be selective and give these people the best stuff, because that's what they deserve for being there. And some of these groups have really run on to tens of thousands of members at this point, and certainly there you'll be able to monetize that to a certain extent. But if you've got 10,000 people there, you've still got to realize that you can't. If you sold 10,000 shirts, that's a single shirt to everybody. So that's why you want to be in you want to build a lot of these things up, as many as you can manage. If you need to get a VA to help you with some meme content for the pages, and some of them won't work, some of them won't. They won't be buyers. Some of them you'll never be able to build past a few thousand. But if you keep on hitting away at it and building it up, that's certainly a great way to bring in some organic sales.
Yeah, I think the word I would use for building up pages is consistency, because a lot of people out there have sort of tried it for a couple of weeks, and then it was just taking off, but then they sort of lost the enthusiasm. And I think that's where they've sort of definitely done themselves a disservice. I've spoken to a couple of page owners this week who have pages in the millions, and they started this when they were 19, just doing current trends of stuff they're into, building up pages. They kept just doing it as a hobby, and now they just manage those pages for a full-time job, and they're on a hell of a lot of money just from resharing memes and putting out good content and things like that. It really is one of those things. It's a snowball. You just got to keep at it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you start to get bigger on the pages, then you're going to want to put a website that's linked to that page, and then you're going to want to rewrite those stories. So if somebody catches the biggest fish, then you want to ring them up, get an interview with them, even if it costs you a little bit of money. That's the kind of thing. Get some photos of what's going on, rewrite the biggest articles of the week on your own blog, and get a mailing list going, and then really start to roll it over on a much bigger scale.
And Thomas is just pretty much scraped onto the next way of really growing. If you've already got a good established page, if you know a few thousand, there's going to be similar pages or slightly slimmer niche pages that you could speak to the page owner of that page and say, look, I'll shout out your page if you shout out mine. And the next thing you know, you're going to be getting a few of people from their group who are also interested in your style of fishing, maybe, and vice versa. And that way you can really start chunking up and getting some real growth.
So yeah, then that brings us on to another way of being able to monetize communities. If you look around, or groups, or whatever you've got, pages, if you look around and you see that there's a massive Facebook page in the Netherlands, and it's all about fishing, but they don't have a group attached to it, or maybe they do have a group attached to it, but they're not making any effort to monetize it at all, you can reach out to that page and you can say, hey, I'm a designer. This is what I do. I'll do the designs for your group. I'll manage all of that. All you're going to have to do is post. You give them like a bit of a schedule of what they're going to stick to. So it's like, you tell them what I've just told you. It's like three posts a week maximum. This is what they're going to look like. We think that they're going to really love this stuff. And you can come up with a revenue split with them, and you say whether you pay per post or you give them a percentage of the payout. That's the way to do it. You can say, I'll give you a screenshot from inside my Moteefe account, have a separate Moteefe account for each page if you want to keep it all separate so everyone knows where they are. You can add them you can add that person as an admin on your account so they can see what's going on if they're really suspicious. But, it is worth looking at those kinds of things to see if you can help with other people's pages, because a lot of people, as Aidan said, they built these up as like a hobby. And they've got no design experience. They've got no idea how to monetize it. Maybe they don't even realize it can be monetized. And there are groups out there in the hundreds of thousands, and no one's posting any content at all, even if it's just the beginning of setting up their shop and for them, or that's linked to the page, and seeing how that goes with a catalog. That's certainly something that's well worth time looking at. Yeah. But when you're doing this, you've got to be nice when you're doing it. You've got to work out a way of communicating with these people. You've got to have something to say. You can't just come across as, you've got to have nice designs to show them already. You've got to have a Moteefe white label store set up, even if it's in a different niche, so that they can see what's going on. You've got to be able to convince them that you're the right person to be able to help them monetize their community, and you're not just there to spam and just make the whole thing collapse in on itself.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it. Yes.
So once you have built up your page, the other way to do this is stories, Facebook stories and Instagram stories. There's hardly any competition. If you go to your phone now, you open your phone. If you're on Facebook, then you go to Facebook stories. If you go through that, you will see every story from every page that you follow. Here, you can be more aggressive. You can post a new Facebook story every day, but make it good. Don't just post a picture of the shirt. Have a little thing, like there's lots of apps out there, Canva and stuff, where you can make really engaging, like story posts, multiple things. You can include video, you can include all sorts of stuff in those, and you can sort of tell a story in them, and then have a link to buy the product at the end. Mother's Day UK is coming up. That would be a great time to try and If you're in the right niche, everyone has a mother, but not everyone's in the UK. Anything like that that's happening, you can get these Facebook stories out, and they're really a great way to generate sales when you've already got a bit of a following. So if you've got 5,000 or 10,000 people following you already, or even 1,000, Facebook stories are a pretty good way, because also if it's not really intrusive, they can just flick straight past that story. People don't mind. I see a lot of stories, it only takes a second to roll it over, and it doesn't really get in the way. It's not as spammy as sort of just continually to post to your page. So definitely check out the stories, but always try to add value in what you're doing, and think about the buyer, think about something that they might want to buy. But definitely test the stories, because it's massively underutilized, and it can be a huge plus. So you've got your link at the bottom, you can just swipe up or whatever it says, and then you'll be on the landing page.
Yeah, and that's the thing with it, right? If you're scrolling on your phone, it's across that top bar of the story. So it's a combination of, it's right in your face, and not many people are doing stories. So it's the perfect combination, right?
Yeah, full screen, full attention. You've got them there. You've just got to put something in front of them that they really want to buy. And of course, one of the things about Moteefe is that you can have your own white label store, and that means that you've got your own URL, your own domain name, I should say, which means that it's the same page, so they can recognize it, then they can search for it, and then they'll find it. It all makes sense as they move through the story into your store. You can update your banners of your store to make it relevant to what you're pushing at the moment. So it all moves, it all flows together. And with the worldwide printing network that we have, then wherever the buyers are coming in from, we're able to service them locally with local production. And it really ties that all together very, very nicely. So it's much different if you were just posting something, I don't know, to Amazon or something like that. There's no story there. It's a fishing page, and all of a sudden they're looking at something, a T-shirt on Amazon. It's just not gonna be that same direct experience as if it's like my fishing page, myfishingpage.com, all very nicely together with the collection and a nice banner that you put together saying, hey, thanks for checking out my Facebook story, or however creepy you want to get with it. That's really the way to do it. Any closing thoughts, Aidan?
Well, the closing thoughts from me on this one is pretty much two things that you need to put into it: time, consistency. That's it. And the best way of doing it, and to make sure that you follow it, is literally put in your diary, go to Google Calendar and say, right, before I start my normal job, say 8 till 9 o'clock, I come up with my ideas within that hour, and then you schedule it throughout the day. So you don't have to look around twice and then go back to it and go for it. Once it's done and it's set, you set it and you forget it. Because what you'll find is, if you just create the content and say, oh, I'll post this at lunchtime, I'll post this at this time, you, one, forget, and two, it won't be, there's more things that could get in your way if you don't just set it, forget it, get it all done and dusted, bang. And then if you get really good at that, then you can start doing it for 3 pages. You can start doing it for 6 pages. And then you're spinning more plates in the air, right? Instead of just that one. And that's where it's you can really get good at this.
Yeah, and you can schedule all of your posts for the week, so you can get all of this done over the weekend. If a couple of hours on a Sunday would be able, if you're working all the time, you'll be able to get all this done, everything ready. There's Facebook page, Instagram page, and Facebook group. All of that stuff you can just schedule out, and it would just automatically post through the week. And then you just got to sort of grab your phone after work and reply to a few comments, and you're golden.
Yeah, and I've done it before, and it's exciting, right? So if you literally sit there for 3-4 hours on a Sunday, figure out all your content for the week, get it all scheduled, and then it comes to Friday when you finish the day job, and you say, oh, my page has grown X amount. It's nice to see the fruits of your labor and your time labor, let's say. So no. Indeed. Any questions, guys, before we wrap up? Anyone in the chat? I think we may be good, Thomas.
I think we may be good. I think we've covered it all to the extent that our millions upon millions of followers are off building their groups, rapidly opening a huge spike right across Facebook in group activity as people click that button to open a group. So excellent. Well, thank you very much, Aidan, and we'll be back next week, same time, same place, but a different topic.
Oh yes, we certainly will. And just if anyone's there watching on YouTube, obviously give us a like and subscribe should you think that this content was very good and very helpful. And also you'll see in the description that there's loads of links to different things that can help you on your way. I definitely recommend joining the Moteefe Global group. That's where I pretty much am all day, every day. So you can obviously reach out to me there should you have any questions or want any help or pointers, right? And on that, have a lovely day. Speak to you next week.
Excellent. Thank you.